What's going on, all you Facebook and YouTube live fishing freaks? I'm Tyler Waller.
J.R. White, what is up?
Just a little delayed on that. I guess we'll have to work on that.
What?
But yeah. Anyway, we're back. Welcome to another episode of On Another Line Live. It has been a week. Last week we had Matt Messer on. Great dude. Pretty cool deal. We talked about him winning the actual Bassmaster Open down at the Harris James Lakes. Dude is an absolute hammer, along with his brother Leif. Amazing guys. But if you missed that episode, you need to go out there and check it out. I'm speaking for both of myself and JR here when I say that it was a great time. It was a great time had by all, and it was really cool to see somebody who has come up from the ranks the way everybody wants to. Like the whole deal is, in my opinion, the whole goal of any person that's ever picked up a bass rod, eventually you want to make the Bassmaster Classic. And that dude absolutely smashed them and absolutely made a, that's something they can never take away from him. He's always going to be a Bassmaster Classic contender. And we could potentially see that dude bring home the trophy.
$10,000 just for showing up.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So, without further ado, I want to give a shout out to our title sponsor for this episode. Tonight is brought to you by Freedom Outdoors, Wheelersburg, Ohio, as well as St. Mary's, Ohio. Check them out at freedomoutdoors.com, and it is going to be something that you can, get your hands on a lot of cool different boats. They have Ranger, Camus. They have there's Ranger, Camus, Skeeter. There's a Bass Cat in there. I'm going to show you guys some boats that I was down there talking to Scott Hale, the owner, today, and we had an awesome conversation today. But I got to see, there's something about walking through a boat dealership to see some of the great boats that are there. But the smell of new fiberglass, man, like if they made like perfume of that or cologne, like I would be in. For sure, no doubt. So, a couple of things. We again did have Matt Messer on last week. We got a bunch of different things to talk about. We're going to talk about some kind of controversial issues today. Talking about Live Scope. We're also going to talk about the new MLF stuff that's coming out. But first and foremost, guys, this is a non-affiliation here that I'm going to talk to you about, and that is I was at Bridge Day in down in Fayetteville, West Virginia, and this past weekend, and I was just randomly crossing the bridge, which, by the way, if you don't know what Bridge Day is, they shut the Route 19 bridge there down in Fayetteville, which is the New River Gorge Bridge, which is the longest single expanse arch bridge in the Northern Hemisphere. It was the biggest one in the world for a long time. It turned like a 45-minute ride into about 40 seconds, which was really pretty cool. But I was there. I always go every year. It's always a great time. But I ran into this company on the bridge, Coal Miners Beef Jerky. It is made in West Virginia. I haven't dug into this company yet. As far as I know, made by a coal miner. I assume that he's a coal miner and probably just doing this on the side or maybe trying to do this to supplement his funds. But I'm telling you what, this honey jalapeno right here is the absolute bomb.com. Like, I am telling you what, this stuff right here amazes me. It tastes so good. I had a bunch of his other different stuff. I had sriracha. I had, let's see, what else did I have? Cayenne. I had a bunch of different things that was on there. So, but it was all good, and I enjoyed the heck out of every bit of it. So, go check them out. As far as I know, I can only see them on Facebook. And again, we as fishermen, I know, like to eat. Looks like it has 2.8. Let's just share it out here. See what's up. So if I share this screen here with you, again, here it is. Again, no affiliation at all. But made there in West Virginia, Gilbert, West Virginia, which I think is
no way.
Yep. Middle School Drive. But you can see 14 flavors. They have the hottest jerky in the world. Again, I have zero affiliation with this company, but I'm telling you what, they have some really great jerkies. So this is Bridge Day here. I was there. But they had a really good. I hate to be going through. So here you can see some of their beef jerky. So this honey jalapeno is really good. Cayenne's amazing. We had the dill pickle. It was probably my least favorite, which I thought would be my most favorite, but it was good. Don't get me wrong. And they I had some sriracha. I didn't try any of the teriyaki, but it was good. If you're looking for a new jerky brand, definitely go over there and take a look at that because it's going to be something that you're going to enjoy. I'm telling you. This honey jalapeno, again, I'm telling you, is good stuff.
Fun fact: my pawpaw was a coal miner in Gilbert, West Virginia.
Really, that's awesome. Full circle. What's up, Charlie? How you doing, buddy? Hey, sorry I didn't message you back on Facebook the other day. I was actually down in the mountains. We were just talking about it. That was a fish from earlier in this week at Yatesville. Fall fishing, guys, is firing up. And one of my favorite things to throw in the fall is definitely some type of bait that's going to mimic a bait fish, and that's going to be a swim bait or a spinner bait are going to be some of my favorite. But I just recently found out about a swim bait head that I have to show you guys. And most of you guys know that we just picked up a affiliation or a partnership with Picasso Lures. We just got a big ton of lures in there. Matter of fact, yesterday we're digging through them. You guys know that Picasso Lures make some of the best on the planet, but this is one of the coolest designs of anything I've ever seen, and it's going to be tough for me to show you. But this is actually a 3/8 ounce swim bait head, but it has 4 titanium weed guards on it. So these right here are titanium weed guards. If you're seeing the little white things on top of there, those are actually like, I think it feels like wax or rubber, probably to keep you from running that thing into your hands, as well as probably stick it in a fish's eye. But these are really daggone cool. These are called the Smartmouth Plus Weedless. And I am in love, dude. Like, I ordered like 3 of them, I think, or 6 of them, and I will be ordering a bunch. I'm telling you. It's good stuff. Hey, Kathleen, what's going on? Yes, sir. Yeah, so Corey, I agree. We're just now getting into the digging into that side of things. I've been using their jigs for quite a while. Just got a couple of shock blades I'm really interested in throwing. The Aaron Martin's football jigs are freaking amazing. I love those things. The little JR turned me on to the little spotties. But I'm telling you what, that Coosa Candy might be the best looking collar I've ever seen on a jig.
Yeah, it's kind of like a green pumpkin with a little bit of glimmer in the green.
Got a little black fleck in there. Really cool. Really quick, guys, not to overdo what we're going to be talking about today, but now we got Corey on here. You guys know we talk about it every show. We talk about stuff that we believe in and stuff that we're going to use. And one of those is obviously JB's fish sauce. We like it so much that we kind of like begged them to put our name on one, and they did. And that is, as you guys know, I'm sure of it, is pinch of garlic. It's my signature blend, and it's going to be fire for you guys. It's great for any time of the year. But I tell you what, everybody always has the conversation. Hey, can I? Is it going to make me catch more fish or get more bites? I can promise you one thing. I feel like I've caught more fish using it, and I promise you it has not hurt me. So that is, key for me. But you guys know, jbsfishsauce.com. You can also hit that OALL20. Save yourself 20%. Make sure you get that 4 ounce mist of pinch of garlic and a little bit of jelly. You're not going to regret it. I promise you. Those things absolutely help me catch fish. So,
yes.
Jared, what did you into last week?
Coming to the front line for sure, even more so than ever.
Yep. So, and that's the thing. Like, fishing is all about. It's a mental game. I think it's 90% mental, 10% physical, and that's kind of like that's probably an extreme exaggeration, right? Because it's probably 40% physical, 60% mental. Because if you go out and you throw a 6XD on a rod all day and you're deep cranking like 15 to 18 foot all day and you're catching fish, I promise you by the end of the day, I don't care if you're 20 or 60, you are going to be one whipped pup.
Good luck.
Yeah, pretty good. So One of the things that I think that we as anglers need to kind of take into consideration is the fact that we hear all this stuff. Let's kind of tackle or dive into my thoughts or our thoughts on the forward facing sonar stuff. You guys have heard me talking about that. There was a big giant discussion at the beginning of this month about how they were going to they were worried that people are going to start banning forward facing sonar. And I said, you know what, there's no way they're going to do that. And here's why. I have There's so much money that comes in. Fishing is a business, especially when you look at the pros side of things, and you look at how much it takes to run one of those tournament series, and how much people pay to get into those things, and how much sponsorship money comes from just the forward facing sonar community alone. There's a lot of stuff there that comes into play that I didn't figure that they were going to actually get rid of it. But since then, I've had some really heart to heart talks with buddies of mine that have been in situations both as a boater and a co-angler that really made me think why this is actually becoming a discussion. And the fact of the matter is, if you are a co-angler, like for example, I was talking about fishing the Toyota Series next year, and so far that's my goal. I want to fish the co-angler side of the Toyota Series, and that's going to be the northern swing. That's going to be up around Champlain. You're going to be looking at the St. Lawrence River, stuff like that. But one of the things that you as a co-angler have to understand is that when you go into these big giant tournaments, these guys are going to be using forward-facing sonar. And I agree with them using it. Like if you are not using it, which I don't have it on my boat right now currently, but if I had it, I would use it, because if you're not using it, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. But the thing about it is like what you don't take into consideration, I think what a lot of these pros and a lot of these big time manufacturers of these things are not taking into consideration is that we as co-anglers, and I lump myself into that because I fish as a co-angler more often than not, but I feel like that they're kind of eliminating people like me, because take for example, last 2 weeks ago they had a regional down on Del Hollow. It was the Buckeye division, Michigan, or the Michigan division, and all that stuff. They had their regional down there at Del Hollow. There was 160 boats, 100 co-anglers blanked, 100 of them blanked. And I don't know this for a fact, but I know pretty good reason that I have to assume that that's from people being on the front of their boat live scoping, and I agree with it. Like that's what you're going to do to win tournaments. Like I think, and JR and I had a conversation about it the other day. It's like even small tournaments around this area, like Gatesville, Grayson, places like that, the weights are getting bigger. And people are winning these things week after week after week because these people are good at using forward-facing sonar. But one thing that we're not looking at is a co-angler side of that, because if you're out in 50 foot of water, man, and they're just live scoping around this big ball of shad, and you're like spraying and praying, if you will, throwing out there and just live cast, fan casting this whole area, you are at a severe disadvantage to catch a fish.
Yeah, it's definitely not. I mean, I have live scope, and it's not my style of fishing. That's for sure. I mean, I don't want to sit out there and you know drop a bait right in front of a fish's nose until they bite it. It's just not my kind of deal.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't want to go out and fun fish like that. But I
Mm-mm.
can promise you, if I was tournament fishing for $250,000, but if I can dangle my cricket in front of a fish that I know's there, like first off, we talked about it being physical and mental. That then takes into consideration that if I see a fish, whether I think it's a bass or not, that gives me so much more confidence that I can catch that fish. And it's really crazy that I think that they're probably going to start losing co-anglers because of it. Because me, if I fish, let's just say that I fish, it's not an absurd amount of money and it's not cheap either. But I'm talking about fishing the Toyota Series as a co-angler. It's $550 a tournament for a co-angler. It's like $1,750 as a boater. Now I can understand where the boater is going to have more pull when it comes to where they're fishing and all that stuff. That's why they pay all that money. They should have that ability. Now, me as a co-angler, there's nothing I can do about that. Now, then it becomes a almost like a morality thing for me, because if I'm not casting over the boater's line and he's got me live scoped and got me, front ended all day, I'm probably going to send a lure right past his earlobe because I want to win just as bad as he does, but I also understand, why he's doing it. So it's kind of like, I definitely don't want to be that guy. I'm super glad I'm not that person that has to actually make that decision. What's up, Jack? That's what I look like when I catch a fish.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Fire
what,
up.
that's what the camera looks at on the other side when you're taking a picture of a fish you caught.
What's up, Jack? Yeah. So we were talking about it a second ago. I had the opportunity to stop by Freedom Outdoors today, and that's why you see that this episode here is brought to you by Freedom Outdoors. If you're looking for a boat and you're looking for, again, Ranger, Camus, Skeeter, Nitro, they have Ranger aluminums, they have pontoons, man, you name it. But I'm going to show you guys a few boats that I saw down there that caught my eye. I didn't have I'm telling you what, they have the nicest looking boat that I've ever seen in my life at the Freedom Outdoors shop in St. Mary's, Ohio, which is up around Grand Lake St. Mary's, a little bit south of Lima, I guess. Let me show you guys this boat. I have a hard time thinking that there's any more, sexy boat on the planet, in my opinion, right now than Camus. So that's what I'm talking about. They have the sexiest Camus there at their Freedom Outdoors location in St. Mary's. But this is an absolute beautiful rig here. This is a CX20, which is going to be a 20-footer. Nice dual axle trailer underneath that thing. You got chip resistant paint on the trailer. Really nice Camus badges on the trailer. This thing had obviously got the Mercury 250 Pro XS. Looking at the Ultrex 112 there. That's not the new one because this is one that's going to be in stock. I'd imagine you're going to find these new Camuses and other boats coming with the Quest on them soon. But this thing was absolutely beautiful on the showroom floor. Love the wheels on it. It's like a maroon gray with a silver pinstripe. Absolutely beautiful boat. Has red on the seats and stuff. Here is a Bass Cat Puma that they have for. This was a trade in. This is obviously not a new boat. Very well taken care of. Extremely clean. Looks like you can eat off of the carpet, which was there. But here's the upper version of that there. The deck and stuff. Very clean boat for a trade in. Super sexy ZXR 20 here. Skeeter boats are some of the best looking boats. That ZXR 21 is absolutely phenomenal looking. Really daggone cool boats. But I'm telling you what, like, I like the look of these Camus, and it's really tough to go against Earl Bentz when you're talking about building a boat. He's the one that made Triton so popular the way it is right now. People still fish the heck out of those boats, as well they should. But they have all these things in stock. I am not going to quote prices for you guys because I don't know prices. They do have them on their website. If you're interested, go check it out. Again, that's freedomoutdoors.com. They do have a location in Wheelersburg as well as St. Mary's, Ohio.
That's where I got my boat from, and I have a Ranger aluminum 198P. Jeremy took good care of me. They're nice guys, local, and they have a great selection. I mean, where else can you go where you can get, Triton, Camus, Skeeter, some of the biggest names in the fishing industry as there is, and so it's kind of a no brainer.
Yeah, what's up, Andrew? Yeah, so it's been on my mind for quite a while. I'm still just trying to work out the details. I love my boat. It's a 2006. I've been talking about lately how I want to, you guys know I have a lot of irons in the fire. I build guitars and I teach, and I'm not giving up teaching. Obviously, I mean, I guess I can't say that I would. I guess if I could fish for a living, sure, who would not? But that's not part of my plan. But I build guitars and I play music and all this other stuff. I got a lot of irons, quote unquote irons in the fire. And this next year coming up, I've kind of like foregone booking any kind of gigs from here on out. Like I had like 10 people this past weekend message me wanting me to play, and I want to focus my efforts on building a quality YouTube channel and hanging out with you guys and fishing. And with my boat, it still runs great. It's still a great boat. But I would like to get into the world of where I can actually show people newer technologies, have a little more like confidence in my rig, so I can go run that thing 50 miles across the lake and know that I'm going to get back. Which I don't think I have. I don't have a big deal about my boat not coming back, but it's just always nice to have a warranty and all that stuff. So I'm kind of looking at it, but it's kind of is what it is. What's up, Micah? How you doing, buddy? Glad to have you back. Man, I don't know. I feel like that as a co-angler, if that guy is live scoping or that, I don't, heck, I'm stereotyping. I'm assuming somebody's gender in this situation. There's several hammer female fishermen. Let's just say if the angler is up there on the front of the boat and they are casting at one fish or a group of fish, you have to understand one of the biggest things. Again, it's all about that. As G-Man would say, PMA, positive mental attitude. That those are not the only fish around that bait ball. That's not the only bait ball around. There's a pretty good chance that there's probably a bigger bait ball somewhere around you on the back of the boat. Now, I believe if I were going to just pick up a bait, something that I would have confidence in fish eating when they're doing that, I would throw some sort of a small swim bait, like a 3 to 3.5 inch swim bait, something like a Jackal Rhythm Wave or a Kitech Easy Shiner. Those things are always good. I really like it depends on the watercolor, obviously. The Picasso Sujin head. I am probably butchering that name. Suijun Sujin. It's a scrounger head, causes a really crazy wobble. So that would be something good. But I would throw something that stays up high in the water column, because a lot of times people are doing this, what's known as quote unquote, I think they call it hover strolling. It's where you're finding these fish and keeping that bait right above their head. And that's the one thing Kyle said last week when he was at that regional. He was having a hard time catching fish because you could drop a bait, and he said as soon as it went below those fish, they would dart down to it like they were just going to absolutely crush it. He said they would follow that bait 40 foot into the depths, and as soon as it hit the bottom, that fish straight back up. But if you kept it right above them and you were given this number, it was over. He said they eventually would just absolutely crush that thing.
Yeah, I think I would probably do about the same. I would, I think I'd see my boater and probably throw my small swim bait about 2 feet to the right of wherever he was throwing in there.
Yeah, so I kind of get it, Corey, and I think that's a good thing too. And like I said, I see both sides of it. I also think that as a co-angler, you have to understand that there's fish around, right? If there's not fish around, the co-angler or the boater's not going to be there doing that stuff. And those fish are not locked directly on that bait ball. There may be fish behind it. The bigger fish may be behind it. You never know. And it's one of those things, it's all about a mindset thing. But I do believe that you're going to see people that kind of like fade away from being a co-angler because of that. But I also do believe, and I said this last week, I believe that we're going to see some tournament, some tournament series somewhere, and it may be some Joe Blow tournament that comes out of like, Wheeling, West Virginia or something, and that says, hey, we're going to call this, the Anarchy series, where, you can't have anything but, there may be tournament series coming out that we see that you can't even have any kind of electronics on your boat. And as bad as that sounds, I don't see that that's going to be too far of a stretch considering where we're at now. Because if you look at it right now, again, we talked about fishing being a business, and here's how I say that it's a business. The FLW, obviously owned by Johnny Morris and several other people there, they own the rights to, one of two of the biggest tournament series on the planet, in my opinion. You have BASS and you have FLW. And FLW now has come up with this crazy thing where they say that they're only keeping the top 50, what do they call it? The best 50 anglers in the world. Now, what does that mean? Well, to me, that means the last anglers that, this is me kind of putting the cart before the horse here, but I think what that means is they're going to choose the top 50 that, that scored in the top 50 last year. So some of those people are going to be going away because KVD actually finished in the top 50, I believe, and obviously he retired. You're going to see people like there's people that are there that are like in that lower 50 that, in my opinion, are great anglers that could potentially be looking for a new job. And the biggest thing about this is that this is why I was worried about those guys to start with when they left Bass to go to FLW. I understand why they did it. I can't say that I wouldn't have done the same thing. It's just they were going to fish a series that's new. There was no entry fees. They could win a lot more money. The tournament series was actually a lot cooler. But there's people that we've had on the show before, for years past that are absolute hammers that are in that bottom, 50% that potentially may never get to cast another lure for FLW. And the worst part about that is, from my understanding, the only way they can go back to Bass is if they have an Angler of the Year win or a Bassmaster Classic win. That gives them that legend status. So there's only a very few people that can do that, and the rest of the people are they out on the street? Are these the people that make their own tournament series to compete with Johnny Morris? I don't know.
Speaking of those, the bottom 50, speaking of legends, listen to some of these names. You've got, Jared Lintner, Stephen Browning, Dean Rojas, Russ Lane, Skeet Reese, Gary Klein, Luke Clausen, Randy Howell, Wesley Strader, Mike McClelland, some of the, biggest names in bass fishing.
Yeah, and you can't help but feel extremely bad for those people. Because I know that wasn't, I'm sure they had a solid contract to be there. I'm sure Johnny Morris wasn't going to let them go over there for a year and go back to Bass. But it's extremely disheartening that now bass fishing is not just a sport anymore. It is a business. And what I mean by that is Johnny Morris, by the way, we all know him. The dude is not an idiot. The guy has made billions of dollars. Matter of fact, I heard him telling a story the other day on a TikTok that I was watching that the very first Bass Pro Shop was actually started in the back of a liquor store. He was a fisherman, and there was a local bait store that went there, and he tried to get him to order these baits that he wanted, and they said they couldn't get him, so he talked his dad into just putting some baits in his liquor store. And that was called the first Bass Pro Shop. And now we are, billions of dollars later. He's owned every boat pretty much, around the world. Bought Stratus, shut it down. Had Legend, shut it down. He's creating this monopoly, but he is not an idiot. Between him and Boyd Duckett and other people that have a lot of different, they have, a vested interest in this thing. Man, you could bet your rear end that these guys aren't going to lose money. Why would they do that?
And then another big announcement they made is that they're going to go back to the every fish counts, which honestly I really enjoyed last year with the best five. I don't know how you guys feel, but let us know in the comments if you prefer, which format you prefer, because it's a big part of the debate, going from everything else we've already talked about, but the best five versus going every fish counts. And I think we've seen a lot of people the Jacob Wheelers catching 100 fish, and they each weigh 1 pound, which obviously isn't as fun as seeing somebody catch a 10-pounder.
Yeah, but and since they went to the first or the biggest five, Jacob Wheeler has been in contention, but he hasn't smoked them like he used to.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, Fred's on the same boat as we are, best five, and and I could see it both ways. I like the fact that there was some tournaments that allowed them to do that, like the heavy hitters thing. I thought that was a really good deal where they could do all of them count. I think that there should be different ways. I've come up with a tournament series over the last. It wasn't just my. It wasn't my idea actually. And one of the things that actually came from a fellow that used to work at Sportco Marketing, who is the marketing rep for Shimano and G-Limbs here in the United States. He worked there, and he come up to me and he's like, "Tyler, you should hold a tournament." I was like, "Well, I do hold a tournament every now and again." He's like, "Well, here's a great tournament series to do." And I don't know how you could pull it off. I think it's better as a 1 weekend deal. I think it would be astronomically, I think it's crazy to think about to do it as like a series. But he had set up as like a March Madness tournament, bracket style tournament. So let's just say that there's 32 teams in it. You guys would fish the first day, but you're not fishing against the other 31 boats. You're only fishing against the boat that you draw during tournament time. If you beat that tournament or you beat that angler or that group of anglers, you move on to, on in the bracket just like March Madness. Now, my thoughts of that is that it would be weeks long and it'd be really tough to get people in on that. But I think having a tournament that would be like a 2-day tournament where the first day you just got matched up with one boat and you had to beat them, and they would actually just basically all it would do would be cut the field down in half for the final day. So if you had 32 boats, there would be 16 boats for the final day, and it's a winner take all at that point. But I think it would give new anglers that have never fished a tournament more apt to want to join that tournament because they're not fishing against every hammer on the lake. They have to outfish two guys or even one if it's just joined by one person. You have to be one team for that day. You don't have to be the best team for that day as the whole entire tournament, as most tournaments do, but you have to beat that one team that one day. One of the things you have to look at is tiebreakers. Well, what if neither team catch a fish? Well, at that point, it's just a coin flip kind of a deal. There's nothing you can do about it at that point. You're not going to let them go back out and catch another fish. It's going to be biggest tournament weight, and if they don't, it's going to be a coin flip, and at that point, it moves on, and then second day, it cuts it down to half, and then there you go. Pretty cool tournament deal. If any of you guys want to run with that, just at least tag me in the post or something.
Name a trophy after me or something.
Yeah. Yeah, Corey. So I 100% agree with you. I have been in the boat with some absolute hammers in locally. And I've been in the opportunity and I've been around a lot of pros. I've never fished with any pros that I know of. But I have fished with a lot of great anglers, but I've also learned so much about fishing different ways. Like I learned so much fishing offshore at Lake St. Clair with 3 boaters I was with. It was absolutely game changing and life changing for me, learning how to use side scan to find rock piles, mark them, and not blow them out. Work my way to get there to those fish and catch fish off those rock piles. I've done that 100 times since then. And that's the deal. Like as a co-angler, I totally understand that I am in the boater's mercy. I'm not putting it on the boaters, I'm not putting it on their shoulders to not fish how they're going to want to fish, because I would want to do the same thing. I would want to go out there, and if I had live scope, I would go out there and live scope fish, and I would try to catch them because it does work, and you can, fill limits that way. But as a co-angler, you have to feel like that, once it drops off to no co-anglers, it's going to cost the boater $4,000 or $5,000 to enter a tournament because they're going to have to recoup that money somewhere.
It's a lot of cash.
Yeah, it's a ton of money. I mean, if you think about it, like, let's just say, let's do some quick hillbilly math here. 17,005, or let's see, it's 1750 per tournament, I think, for a boater. Times that by 3, that's $5,250 per circuit. And if you times that by those events have usually a ton of boats. So if we do like 250, that's $1.3 million that they're bringing in. Now they're paying a good bit of that out. I think winning a Toyota Series is like 75 or 80 grand, I think, and the Toyota Series, like Chris Malone won there recently, the Toyota championship, Toyota Series championship, is like $300,000 or 350. It's crazy. 250 plus, the contingency cash is crazy anymore. I mean, you have potential to make a ton of money, but $1.3 million, and you're talking about per circuit. And there's 3 circuits in the Toyota Series. So you're looking at, it's over $4 million that they're bringing in. And a lot of that gets paid out, but some of it goes into the, they have employees and people that are traveling these trailers around and stuff. It's like a statistical nightmare to think about how all these tournaments take place. But I wish they would do a little differently as far as like, especially in the BFL side of things, like Michigan, their series is like really good because 5 years ago, Kyle started fishing the BFLs and he fished the Toyota or the Michigan division, and it was awesome. He fished like Lake St. Clair, Burt, Mullet, which was the same tournament. He fished Muskegon. There was like 5 different lakes that they fished within the area. Some of them way up in the UP, which is a lot farther to drive. But since FLW, they've kind of like taken over. MLF and FLW have merged. You have a lot of like they have the tournaments out of the same ramp. Like they're having 5 of them now out of the Detroit River. If you look at like down on the Ohio River, which is one of the worst fisheries on the planet, they have the Buckeye Series fishing twice out of what is it down there in Indiana. I'll think of it in a second. But they're fishing there twice. Like Buckeye fishes there one weekend, and then the next weekend the Hoosier division fishes the same ramp, and then like 2 weeks, like a month later, the Buckeye division comes back. It's crazy to think about all these fisheries getting beat up when there's so many other places to fish. And I think it's just kind of a statistical thing where they just like, hey, you know what, this works so well, let's just keep it here. That's it. Luke's got it. Tanner Street. You're right. So there's just a lot of people that, it's just getting blown up, man. There's like 3 tournaments down there, and I don't know why it is. Like I think they used to do a better job scheduling it when it was just FLW and MLF didn't own it. I don't know why that is, but take that for what it's worth.
What do you think about the G. Loomis Owners Tournament coming up here in December?
It's a great tournament. If you guys don't know what that is down in Lake Cumberland. G. Loomis and Shimano. Obviously, a lot of people don't know, but Shimano actually bought G. Loomis like 23, 24 years ago. They bought it from Gary Loomis. Gary Loomis owned the company, obviously started it. That's where the G. Loomis comes from, Gary Loomis. Shimano bought him out over 20 years ago. I'm not going to quote the day, but it was over 20 years ago. And then since then, they've been, doing these, they've been selling the crap out of fishing rods, but they have a couple times a year. One is a Shimano Owners Tournament. The other one is a G. Loomis Owners Tournament. And these are free tournaments to get into. And, take that with a grain of salt because it's not really free. You're not paying any money out of pocket to join these tournaments. What happens is that you have to buy a qualifying purchase from a participating dealer. Like, for example, you have Greg Drown at the Tackle Box, which, by the way, guys, he just put Max Scent, I think, on sale for like $4.49 a pack today. And that is astronomically low. You can bet your end that I'll be driving up there tomorrow and loading up. But he is a participating dealer. He's still open. You can go up there and check him out and get, some things there, get the entry form, as well as Border Sporting Goods and Summit over there. But the deal is you just have to buy a qualifying product from one of these participating dealers, and you're in. That's it. You get a sheet of paper. Only thing you have to do is like email that to Drew Sadler or fax it to him. I think you can fax it to him along with the receipt showing what you've bought, and that's it. You're in. You show up to Conley Bottom Marina. I believe that's where it's going out of here in December, and you get a fish that day for free. And they have some really great prizes. I want to think the last time we fished the Shimano Owners Tournament was like $3,000 to win that thing, and that's a huge payday considering you didn't pay a single quarter other than buying a fishing rod that you're probably going to buy anyway. From a participating dealer. So again, Tackle Box, Border Sporting Goods, go take a look at those guys, snatch up one of those good Loomis rods and go fish that thing. Speaking of that, I was up at Greg's place last weekend, mid of the week. And he had over 100 NRX plus at one point a couple weeks ago. When I was there the other day, it was down to like 20 or 25. So people are going through those things like, Sherman through Georgia, which is, it's good for Greg, and those people are getting their hands on them. And again, I can tell you what the price is now because I think the cat's out of the bag. and it's $450 plus tax.
For a $650 rod.
Yeah, so 650 is, so that's 40% off, I think, or 30% off. You're not going to find a better deal. I can promise you that. That's used prices on brand new rods. They do have a warranty. If you guys don't know the Shimano G-Loomis warranty, you can go out there and check out my video on YouTube that I just released a few weeks ago. But just in a nutshell, Loomis has a limited lifetime warranty against manufacturer defects, but they also have the expediter service, which you can use at any time. It is, I think, man, the last time I looked, it was an extreme discount. It was like $225, I think, for an NRX Plus, which is crazy. So you ship it there, they ship it to you the next day or 2 day here, and you get your rod and you're good to go. Shimano has a 30-day over-the-counter, no questions asked. So if you take it out fishing and it breaks within 30 days, you take it back to where you bought it from. They will swap it out for you. They'll deal with Shimano at that point. After that is a 1-year limited lifetime warranty on against manufacturer defects. If you break it within that first year and you think it's something that was because of the rod, whether that be the taper, the material, a guide, reel seat, etc., you send it back to them, they'll send you a new one. They also have the express service, which is half the cost of the rod. They'll send you a brand new rod in replacement of that. For example, if you bought a Poison Adrena, they're normally like $420. You're looking at $210. That's shipped to your door. It's a pretty good deal. So it does have that going on there. So, guys, we're about that 45-minute mark. I appreciate you guys sticking around with us. Again, if you guys are looking for a new head for your swim baits to throw in that cover, I'm telling you, and again, if you guys just missed this right here, this is a Smart Mouth Plus weedless 3/8 ounce Picasso jig head. This actually has a 3/0 hook. They make them with a 2/0 hook. They make these things in giant weights, like ounce and a half, I'm pretty sure. They also make them down to like 1/8 of an ounce, something that you're definitely going to want to get your hands on. Again, guys, I have no affiliation with this company whatsoever, but I'm telling you what, this is great stuff. Coal Miner Beef Jerky. Only place I can find it was on Facebook. This honey jalapeno, good stuff. Jared, what was the favorite thing we got from Picasso that you think, of your opinion?
I'm really interested in that tungsten spinner bait. I think it's interesting because it makes the head a little bit smaller, and it being fall, I want to use that spinner bait. And then too, I mean, I love the little spotties. I think that's such a good jig. I mean, I'm a big fan of finesse jigs, so I'm excited to get some of those new colors and try them out.
Yeah, the green pumpkin red or amber red,
yeah,
was good. I really like that a lot. Anything green, you can fish any color you want to, Bobby, as long as it's green pumpkin, right?
Yeah, got to be in there somewhere.
Yeah, got to. So anyway, guys, we are going to round up some people to talk next week. Here's what I would like to get set up for next week. I would like to get a few of you guys out there, like Luke Schmitz. I see you out there. Let's get you on there. How about Corey Weaver? Let's get some people on here. Let's talk bass fishing from an average Joe perspective. Everybody knows pros can catch them, but let's try to get some people on here and just talk fishing. So I'll shoot you guys a message. If you guys, anybody else out there would love to be a part of it, let me know. I can send you the details. I can host up to 16 people on this joint, and we can have an absolute throwdown talking about fishing, and I am here for it. So, guys, if you guys have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, I'd appreciate it if you would. Head on over to OnAnotherLine or Facebook.com OnAnotherLine, or Facebook.com/OnAnotherLine, or YouTube.com/OnAnotherLine. And we are quickly approaching that 5,000 subscriber mark. My goal is 5,500 by the end of next year, which is 2024. And stay tuned to see what happens in the next few months. We may have some really giant things to announce, and I am here for it. So, Jerry, you got anything for him today?
No, man. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll keep good stuff coming your way.
Yes, sir. Got a new video coming out tomorrow, and it is going to be one for the books. You're definitely going to want to take a look at it. Haters will say it's fake. With that being said, guys, it is that 45-minute mark. We're going to talk about cutting these things down to a little bit less than a half hour if it's just me and JR's ugly mug up here talking because, hey, let's face it, we can get boring. But if there's somebody on here, we'll talk as long as they want to. So I'll shoot you guys a message. Those of you guys said out there, if you guys want to be a part of this kind of a fisherman frenzy, we'll call it fisherman frenzy.
Oh, man. It's
See?
a game changer.
Game changer. It is sticky
sharp.
Sticky sharp. With that being said, guys, you know the routine. If you guys can, get out there and lean on them. We'll see you next time on Another Line.